Welcome back to the channel, everyone. On one of my last videos, I told you that I acquired a new grill, a original Weber kettle, and I asked for some ideas on what I should make for some of our videos, and a lot of you asked for pork chops, so that's exactly what we're going to do today. I'm going to show you a couple different ways on how to make pork chops on the kettle grill. We're going to do stuffed pork chops, grilled pork chops, a pork loin roast, and I'm also going to show you how to save some money when shopping for pork chops. So let's get started. When shopping for pork chops, you can always just go to your grocery store, buy them from the meat counter, pick whichever ones you'd like, but there's a better way of doing that, and that is by using one of these ginormous pork loins. Now, this whole thing is about 10 pounds and it costs only $18. This is where pork chops are cut from, and it's a great way to save some money if you're doing pork chops. You can cut them to your own desired thickness, to your size. You can leave it as a roast. There's so many different options and much cheaper than buying the pre-cut ones at the grocery store. I got this one from Costco. Usually the big box stores will have these in stock, and they also freeze really well. You can portion it out, throw it in your freezer, and then just take them out as needed. Today I'm going to prepare this 3 different ways. All of them are going to be cooked on the Weber kettle. So the first one is going to be a pork loin roast, meaning I'm going to keep it into this kind of a roast size. We'll throw this on the grill, finish it off with a delicious soy honey garlic sauce. Our next set of pork chops are going to be stuffed. I'm going to use this center section for those. We're going to stuff it with cream cheese, bacon, shredded cheese, and finally I'm going to make some simple barbecue pork chops. We'll cut these down to size, throw them on the grill hot and fast, and finish them off with a barbecue sauce. So 3 different preparations, all from this one pork loin, and all for under $20. These pork loins from Swift also show you on the back exactly how to trim it and what you can do with it. So these guys know that this is a great way to save some money and cut it at home yourself. To start, I'm going to remove my pork loin from the packaging, carefully slice the top, and then I like to cut it about halfway down, and then we'll just slowly pull this out. Wow. That is a lot of pork. Before we start prepping it, I'm just going to pat it dry. It's easier to work with, won't be as slippery. Look at that. That is a big and girthy boy. For my prep today, I'm going to separate this roughly into thirds. Just about here will be our roast. Piece number 1, cut right here for our stuffed pork chops. There we go. This will be for the barbecue ones. First up, I'm going to prepare my pork loin roast. So this was one of the end pieces, and I'm going to leave it as is. There's a little bit of fat on the top, which is perfect. Give it a little bit extra flavor, keep it nice and juicy. The bottom side is nice and clean. So all that I'm going to do is just season it up, and for that, I'm going to use my all-purpose barbecue rub, which is delicious on pork. This guy on the tray, and then we'll just hit it with the rub on all sides, press that in, and no binders needed. This is going to hang out on the cutting board here while we prep all the other sections and get the grill preheated. So this will give it time to sweat down, get absorbed, and really maximize our flavor. And our first pork is prepped and ready. Next, I'm going to prep my barbecue chops. So we're using the other edge piece for that. This is great because now you can cut them down to your size. A lot of times at the grocery store, the pork chops are cut super thin, so when they go on the grill, they have a tendency to overcook and dry out. When you cut it at home yourself, you can get them nice and thick, so they're easier to cook and they will stay juicy throughout the cook. So what I like to do is go about 2 fingers width on your pork chops, so maybe a little bit over than an inch. Cut right down here, and then this is what you get. Nice, thick cut, even pork chop. I'm also going to leave the fat on this one as well, so as it grills down, that fat's going to provide that additional flavor. Main thing here is to keep the thickness the same, so as these guys are cooking, they're going to finish at the same time. For my cook today, I'm only going to cook 3 of these pork chops. The rest of this piece I'm going to put in a Ziploc bag and throw this guy in the freezer. If you do want to make more pork chops, this is the time to cut these up and freeze them individually so you can take them out as needed. I like to keep this as a roast, and we'll just cook it whole the next time. For these 3 pork chops, I'll give them the same treatment as the roast. Just gonna hit them with my all-purpose rub. Again, we're gonna finish these with a barbecue sauce, so the rub just helps kind of bring everything together, bring out those flavors. And finally, I'm going to prep our stuffed pork chops. So this is from the center cut loin, and similar to the last prep, I'm going to cut this down into individual slices. Anytime you're doing stuffed pork chops, cut them a little bit thicker so you have more room to work with to create your pocket to fill it with the stuffing. So for these, I like to go about 3 fingers wide, just like this. Cut it down. These will also shrink down as they're cooking, so don't worry, it's not going to be as thick. There we go. Next up, we can prep the fillings, and there's really a whole bunch of different ways you can go here. We're gonna keep it pretty simple. I'm using cream cheese, shredded cheese, and bacon. You can also add some veggies, add onions, spinach is popular. Let's start on our filling. I've got 1 block of cream cheese. I'll add a handful of shredded sharp cheddar. And finally, I've got my bacon. I'm gonna bring this inside and just cook it up and get it nice and crispy in the microwave. You can cook it whichever way you guys like it. Throw it in the oven, throw it on the skillet. For this application, the microwave works great because this will get super crispy and be ready in just a couple minutes. So I'll go inside, prep this. We'll be right back. All right, bacon is done. So, this is super hot. So this is kind of what you're going for. Again, I did this in the microwave, took about 7 minutes, and you really want to get that bacon super crispy. Let me know if that's how you guys make your bacon in the microwave. That's kind of how I've been taught, is put it on a piece of paper towel, put another paper towel on top, and then just cook until it is to your liking. We did about 7 strips, and now just gonna break them up. That is really hot. Okay, let's put the bacon with our cheese mixture. I'm going to season this with my steak seasoning. So it's a great mix of herbs, spices, salt, pepper. So go really well with our pork chop. And I'll just mix everything together. It's best to start with kind of room temperature cream cheese. So take it out of the fridge before you begin. Let that sit on your countertop for about an hour. All right, so that is looking pretty good. Really good filling. Let's prep our chops for the filling. So what you're gonna do is take a smaller knife like this, and we're gonna cut a slit right down the center, making sure not to cut all the way through. And we'll make this pocket to hold our filling inside. So again, take your knife, we're gonna slice right down here, and then just slowly take your time. Same on this side. You wanna make sure you go right down the center. Oh, look at that. That looks great. We've got our pocket for our filling. While I'm prepping these, it's a great time to hit that subscribe button. If you're not subscribed already, leave a comment. Let me know what you guys want to see me cook next too. I really appreciate all the feedback on that Weber grill and the idea to make these pork chops, because I love pork, and these will be delicious. Now it's time to stuff our pork chops with our filling. Take your chops, and then we'll just spoon our cheese and bacon mixture right inside. I want to make sure you get it down in there super packed. Some of this will come out during the cooking process, so that's why I like to put a lot more in there. That is kind of what you're going for. We're going to season the outside with the steak seasoning. Maximum flavor on these stuffed pork chops. All right, so we've got all 3 of our porks prepped and ready. We've got the stuffed chops. We have the individually cut chops for the barbecue sauce finish, and we've got our pork loin roast. All that from that one pork loin. Let's go fire up the Weber kettle. I'm gonna show you guys how to set it, prep it, and get it ready for cooking. For these, I like to use the chimney starter, so I'm gonna put this right in the center of the grill. The top grate is removed, so this is going directly on the grate where the charcoal will go. I'm gonna fill this up with Kingsford charcoal, so going with the original. And get that chimney nice and full. I've got one of these little tumbleweeds. This will go on the grate. Start this guy, and I'll put the chimney right on top. So it's gonna happen that tumbleweed is gonna light, it's gonna start to ignite the charcoals from the bottom, and once it's all nice and hot, super etched over, I'm gonna dump this into the grill, and then we'll put the pork chops on. All right, Weber is preheating, so let's get started on our garlic honey sauce. It's, again, super easy to make. I'm gonna combine all the ingredients in my saucepan, bring it inside, and then just bring it up to a simmer and cook for about 10-15 minutes, and it's going to be perfect on our roast. So first I've got some olive oil. Next we're gonna go with some garlic. You can use fresh, you can use the garlic stuff, whatever you might have on hand, about a tablespoon. Next, I've got some soy sauce, so about a quarter cup. This full recipe, by the way, is on my website, so you can get all the exact measurements. Next, we've got some honey, about a quarter cup or so. Next, I've got some chicken broth. And finally, we'll add some crushed red peppers. So this will go on the stove over medium heat. It will take about 10-15 minutes to thicken up, reduce down, and this will be perfect on our pork. All right, looks like the charcoal is ready to go. So as you can see, the chimney has that fire coming right on the top. It is super hot, so I'm just gonna take this. This is my favorite part of this whole thing, and just dump it right into the grill. Ooh. Now I'm just gonna move the charcoal to one side to create a kind of a dual zone setup. So one side's going to be super hot with the coals, and the other side is going to be a little cooler where we can finish off our pork and not burn it. The grate goes right on top. Let's put the lid on. First up, we've got our pork loin roast. This one is going to take the longest to cook because it's the largest piece. Put the lid here. And I'm going to start with the roast directly over the coals. I want to sear the outside on all sides, create this beautiful crust, and then we'll move it over to the indirect side of the grill to finish cooking. Directly on the coals. Oh yeah, look at that. Sizzling, smelling great already. Well, I'm just gonna keep an eye on this. The lid will be off for just a minute or so. I'll give it a turn, in a couple minutes once it's nicely browned up. This is also a good time to put the cast iron skillet on. This is what I'm gonna use to cook the stuffed pork chops in. You can cook those directly on the grate, but when that filling falls out, some of it will fall out, causes flare-ups and just gets kind of messy. So the cast iron will kind of hold everything together. So this goes on the direct heat side of the grill as well. When we filmed our Super Bowl snack video last week, it was in the 50s, coming up close to 60. Today it is cold. It is it's like 30, 31 degrees. Not ideal. Still probably a little bit warmer than it should be for this time of year. At least it's not snowing. So you can see it's starting to brown up a little bit, get this nice colors. Fat is rendering down, causing flare-ups. So let's give it a turn. Oh, look at that. Sizzling, rendering down. Get the size as well. Okay, our pork loin roast is looking pretty nice. That fat has that beautiful color, a little crisp on it. So I'm gonna move it over to the indirect side. I'm gonna close the lid now to keep that heat inside the grill, and I will continue cooking. Another important thing with pork, especially with pork, is when to pull it off and when it's done. The safe eating temperature for pork is 145 degrees. If you cook this to 145, pull it off. That carryover cooking is gonna take it over 150, and it's gonna be super dry, tough, and just not very pleasant. So pull it off shy of 140. Do about 139, 138, and let it rest for 10 minutes. And I guarantee your pork is going to be juicy, delicious, and perfect every single time. All right, next up, I'm going to put my stuffed pork chops in the cast iron. Put a little avocado oil in the skillet, and we'll take our stuffed pork chops and we'll put them right in the cast iron. I'm gonna sear them off on each side, about 2-3 minutes, get that beautiful color. Then I'll move the cast iron to the indirect heat side to finish cooking. Okay, let's give these guys a flip, see how we're looking. Oh yeah, look at that, beautiful color. So now let's sear off the other side. So now all that's left is these 3 grilled pork chops. So these are gonna go directly over the coals. I added a couple more briquettes just to help bring up that heat. I'm just gonna place these right on the grates. I'm gonna leave those guys on for about 2 minutes, flip them, cook for about 2 more minutes, then we'll add our barbecue sauce, let that get nicely caramelized, sticky, tacky, and then everything will be ready to go. Our roast is ready, so I'm gonna bring this inside. I took the cast iron off already too because it's so cold outside. I'm letting these rest inside the house with a little aluminum foil on top to help retain that heat, increase that carryover temperature. So this will rest about 10-15 minutes. We'll be done with the thin cut pork chops by then, and everything will come together pretty much at the same time. Let's flip our last 3 pork chops. Wow, look at that. Beautiful crust and color. That fat is getting nice and crispy on the edges. So the finishing touch is we'll add a little barbecue sauce. I'm going with a Sweet Baby Ray's. It is my absolute favorite store-bought sauce. Feel free to use whatever you'd like, and I'm just gonna spread this out. Make sure to get the edges. Everything is ready, so let's plate our pork chops up. So starting first, we've got our beautiful barbecue chops. So these were seasoned and grilled directly over charcoal, finished with a little barbecue sauce. Next up, we've got our stuffed pork chops in the cast iron. I'm gonna top them with just a little bit of a fresh parsley. And last, we've got our pork loin roast. We'll just cut a couple of slices, and we'll leave the rest of it whole and plate it up that way. We'll go just like this. Look how juicy that pork is. Hopefully you can see that in the video, but it is just dripping juice. It is glistening, no brine. You just cook it to the correct internal temperature and you get delicious, juicy, tender pork. I mean, that is pretty spectacular. Plate our roast up just to make it nice and pretty. And lastly, we've got our delicious honey garlic sauce to go on top of the pork. I'm just gonna pour that right on top. Look at that. Okay, pour the rest right around our roast. I'm just gonna top it all off with a little green ready to go. All right, let's try everything out. I'm gonna go with the pork roast first because that sauce is so tasty. Ooh, look at that. You get garlic, honey, that umami flavor from the soy sauce, a little heat from those chili flakes, that nice kind of smoky grilled flavor. This is absolutely delicious. Next up, let's try the stuffed pork chops. So again, I said this one's a little bit messy, so I'll try to get a little bit of everything in my bite here. We're filling, oh yeah. You get the creaminess of that filling, the cream cheese, the shredded cheese, those bacon pieces inside. That crust on the outside from searing this in a cast iron is absolutely perfect. And last but certainly not least is the barbecue pork chop. This one is kind of my go-to method of doing pork chops. Quick sear, little barbecue sauce at the end, and you're left with a beautiful looking pork chop. Again, cooked at the right temperature, pork is tender, juicy, succulent. You get that sweet barbecue sauce on the outside. These are delicious. Good on its own. You can make these into a sandwich. I've done that before, and yeah, oh, this is so good. So that's going to be it for this video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. We went over 3 different recipes for a pork loin. We did the pork loin roast with a delicious garlic honey sauce, grilled barbecue pork chops, and stuffed pork chops, all for under $20. Yeah, definitely getting that pork loin, cutting them up yourself is the way to go. If you like what I'm doing, hit that subscribe button, leave a comment, give it a thumbs up, and I will see you guys next time. I'm just going to continue eating my delicious pork.